I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. Call me childish. Call me a fool. Tell me right now that Kyle Tucker is going to mash 40 home runs, bat 285, and still leave for another ball club in 2026. I do not care. This is Chicago Cubs competitive baseball, baby. The Chicago Cubs have Kyle Tucker. That's everything, bro. That is everything for this offseason. John Heyman, Morosi, Ken Rosenthal, everybody's reporting on it right now. It's a 3-for-1 deal. The Chicago Cubs are sending Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wesneski instead of Seiya Suzuki, and Cam Smith, first rounder of the 2024 draft. Obviously, this kid's been mashing the baseball since June, and it's definitely hard to see him go because I do believe Cam Smith is going to be a cornerstone piece for any ball club that has him by the time he's ready to come up to the majors. He is going to be phenomenal in the hot corner. He's going to hit dingers. But Kyle Tucker is a top 10 caliber player and a superstar in the making. We just traded for a 27-year-old who has over 125 home runs, who in 78 games last year had 23 home runs. Ian Happ in over 130 finished with 25. Like, this is a stud. He's a Gold Glover, a Silver Slugger, a 3-time All-Star, a World Series champion. That's everything. That is everything. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you think it's an overpay. If you believe in Matt Shaw, then Cam Smith has no place here. If you believe in James Triantos, then there still isn't a place for a guy like Cam Smith. This is everything. This is everything. This is a sick ass deal. This deal is sweet as shit. If you think about it, like, if we're going to be completely honest, if you look at what the Yankees gave away to get a guy like Juan Soto, I am not comparing the two whatsoever, but a superstar caliber player, what they've been going for the last several years, even, let's talk about Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet getting several, not only first round picks, but top 100 prospects. The fact that you gave away Cam Smith, who you acquired less than 6 months ago, that is everything. And a bridge gap third baseman in Isaac Paredes and Hayden Wesneski, who I like Hayden. I do, but he's never, you know what I mean? He's never taken over. He's never commanded that rotation. Oh my God, we just got Kyle Tucker. I don't care. I don't care if everybody's in the comments saying, oh, we overpaid, or, oh, he's not going to re-sign. That's a problem for next year, Mike. I could give a fuck. That's a problem for 2026, Mike. I'm right here right now, brother. We are in there like swimwear all 2025. It's King Tuck show. I got Tuck. I don't give a fuck. I am here, baby. We are here. Woo! Especially with Devin Williams getting traded today too. I mean, like, you gotta take advantage. You gotta take advantage. I mean, what's the biggest move today? Thank you for whoever just sent that. The biggest move today, is it going to be Nestor Cortez to the Brewers? Or is it going to be Kyle Tucker to the fucking Chicago Cubs? Woo! I don't care, baby. I don't care. I'm lit. Let's read some comments. Let me get some comments in here. Astros got a good deal. I just hope we re-sign Tuck. Yeah, it's a solid deal. No lie. I'm not going to sit here and flodge. Like, Cam Smith is going to be a cornerstone third baseman for them, I would imagine. But you know what I mean? If we in turn believe in Matt Shaw, then that's fine. You know, it's not like you're dumping away a guy like Cam Smith just because you have Matt Shaw. Like, you are getting a superstar caliber player and a 3-time All-Star in exchange. I'm super excited. What I do wonder, now that let's calm down a little bit. I do wonder what that means for Seiya Suzuki, because you hear the rumors that a trade is possible. I think for me, the question becomes, how bad does Seiya really want to play in right field? Because no matter what, Kyle Tucker is going to be your starting right fielder on opening day, as long as everyone's healthy. You know what I mean? So if Seiya truly doesn't want to DH going into 2025, you have Pete Crow Armstrong, Ian Happ, you got a guy like Kyle Tucker, and then you still got Cody Bellinger potentially still here, maybe not. Owen Casey, you know, so there's a lot of questions of where Seiya Suzuki fits, and if he does fit. Now, if he doesn't mind DHing, this lineup looks nasty. You're looking at a lineup, I don't know what direction Craig Counsell is going to go into, but the lineup going into 2025, you got guys like Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, Matt Shaw. I mean, it's nasty. And that means everything for Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is currently going into spring training, in my opinion, knowing he is the starting third baseman for the Chicago Cubs. And that's super exciting, because I watched this guy mash for Team USA just a month ago. I watched this guy rip and dominate all season long in the minor leagues. So, like, to be able to see him get that opportunity without having to worry about, are they going to start Isaac? What's the case going to be? It's great, man. This is great. This is great for the organization. We did a live last night kind of talking about it, that why it works. Listen, I completely understand everybody's concern. You trade for a guy like Kyle Tucker. Let's go through memory lane real quick. Let's just break down what we've all been feeling over the last 24 to 48 hours. So you trade 3 players for Kyle Tucker, and you get him on a 1-year deal. Let's say Kyle Tucker hits 30 to 35 home runs, bats 275 to 285, and when the Cubs make the playoffs. You can make the argument the Cubs need to re-sign him. The Cubs need to re-sign him. How could you trade for him without getting an extension? I'll tell you why. Because no matter what was going to happen, Kyle Tucker was going to test free agency no matter what. He played 78 games last year after fracturing his shin. He's going to bet on himself the same way Juan Soto did in 2024, which obviously worked out for him. But the best way that you can convince a guy like Kyle Tucker to extend with the Chicago Cubs is to give him the Wrigleyville experience. Give him the experience to play for an entire year at Wrigley Field, just like we did on a 1-year prove-it deal with Cody Bellinger in 2023. It makes the most sense because it's easy to walk into a room and say, I want you to be a Chicago Cub. You will have so much success at Wrigley Field. Sign on the dotted line. But it's a lot easier to do it when you already have him playing here. You can convince him, man, did you love this year? Did you have a career year? Did you love the community? Did you love the fan base? Did you love Fridays at 120? That's huge. That is huge to be able to have him there because it's hard to convince him to not go to the Yankees. You know what I mean? You got the short porch in left field, the short porch in right field, and then obviously you got a guy who's going to be willing to offer you $600 to $700 million. So if the Cubs can compete somehow, some way, and potentially get Kyle Tucker to fall in love with Wrigley Field, I think it makes it a hell of a lot easier to extend him rather than let the Yankees trade for him. He hits 50 home runs on the short porch, and then they offer him $600 million. He's not coming to Chicago. You know what I mean? Like that. Now, go on a playoff run here, have a lot of fun, hit sluggers after the game, have a good time, show them around. Maybe after every home win, Chick-fil-A does that thing again where they're like, hey, man, free chicken sandwich every time the Cubs get a home win. Kyle Tucker falls in love. King Tuck is the show in right field. The bleacher bums love him. That's everything. That's everything, man. I'm so excited. Tap that follow button. Hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the stream, we got over 100 people in here right now. All Cubs fans. Love to see it. Yeah, there's my guy. Malcolm. Listen, Malcolm is a diehard Yankees fan. He was in my I think you were in my live last night or you were in the comments. Malcolm, I want to say this. You still got a chance. I know you're a diehard Yankees fan, you still got a chance because I'm still it definitely is a concern to me that he is a free agent at the end of 2025 with the short porch in right field in Yankee Stadium. If I'm Kyle Tucker, I go to the New York Yankees. If that, me, you know what I mean? Obviously, if the Cubs offer you the similar contract and you fall in love with Wrigley, that's a whole different conversation, but it would make the most sense to go to New York. So it's definitely not over. Long term, the Yankees still could end up with a guy like Kyle Tucker for the foreseeable future. But right now, go Cubs, baby. That's you know what I mean? That's all I can do. Yeah, Malcolm said, we'll be waiting. No, for real. Because I believe it. I remember so many Mets fans were saying that they were going to get Juan Soto all season long. And then they did. Of course you're waiting. Of course everyone's going to be waiting on it. And the Yankees are in a position to where they can wait on it. You know what I mean? They're set for a very long time. Trying to get some Facebook comments in here as well. Jim Cross says, let's go, baby. We got Frankie Cruz in here says, woo, got Tucker. Now give us Bronx belly bombs 100%, man. I think there's a lot to say about what this does for New York, what this does for the Chicago Cubs more so. I think obviously acquiring Kyle Tucker really does do one in on the New York Yankees, and it definitely does open up discussions about maybe you get more than you thought you were going to get for a guy like Cody Bellinger. We're starting to get to that point in free agency where a lot of names are no longer available, so are they going to up the ante just a little bit for a guy like Cody Bellinger? I'm not asking for your top prospects. I'm not asking for Warren or Dominguez or anybody. I'm not crazy. I'm not Delulu, but could we go from a couple single A guys to maybe a couple double A guys? Maybe, maybe you got a better chance with one of them. That's just where my head's at. That's what I'm thinking. So, the Cody Bellinger price definitely does go up just a smidge, not a lot. Don't get crazy. He's still not, gonna get the bang for your buck. But man, I love this, man. I absolutely love this. You're going into it. If we had to evaluate and guess what this is going to look like going into 2025, personally, myself, I still don't know what's going to happen with Nico Horner. Are they trusting James Triantos and they're going to flip Nico Horner regardless? Or does Nico still end up being on the Chicago Cubs come opening day? Now, obviously, he had that offseason surgery, so he might miss the beginning of the year regardless, but this is everything, brother. This is everything. You're going into it with you're going to assume you could have a starting lineup of Michael Busch at first base, Nico Horner or James Triantos at second, Dansby Swanson at short, Matt Shaw at third. Your catchers are either going to be Miguel Amaya or Moises Ballesteros. Center field, Pete Crow Armstrong. Right field, Kyle Tucker. DH is going to be Seiya Suzuki. Ian Happ in left. And Shota Imanaga on the mound. Frankie Cruz. Frankie Cruz said, want Marcus Stroman back for Cody Bellinger. I'm not going to lie to you. At this point in time, with Tucker added, Owen Casey on the rise, Pete Crow Armstrong, Ian Happ, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Just because Kyle Hendricks left, you don't know what you're going to get in Matthew Boyd. I wouldn't be upset with Marcus Stroman returning to Wrigley. I mean, he was an all-star when he was here, so, it's definitely possible. But, man, this is so love, brother. This is so love. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're still live. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't already. Smack that like button. It shows everybody out there, shows the live out. Let's pimp it out, man. Let's get this going because Chicago Cubs are ready to play some baseball, man. I was just talking with Lance Brozdowski the other day at the Marquee Network. You can catch him on YouTube at Lance Brozdowski, Marquee Network, Foul Territory, MLB Network, kids everywhere. But we're kind of discussing, like, who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be that guy that the Chicago Cubs finally break the bank for? If you remember, Jason Hayward's still the highest paid Cub of all time with a $184 million contract. Now, at the time, 8 years, $184 million, that's a great deal. But fast forward to 2024, and Juan Soto's getting paid $800 million, and several players are getting paid over $300 million. Like, it's definitely at a time to where the Chicago Cubs need to catch up financially. And I think Kyle Tucker is that guy. Kyle Tucker is the guy. Whether they re-sign him or not is a totally different conversation. But I believe the Chicago Cubs, after a successful season with Kyle Tucker, wouldn't be opposed to signing him for the long term. And Ryan left a great comment as well. He said Tucker is worth breaking the bank for when you look at his numbers. Let's look at his numbers, Ryan. I mean, that's a great point that you made right there. First of all, let's get into 2024. A 4.7 WAR. I know that's not insanely impressive, but overall, man, 78 games played with 23 home runs. In 78 games, he would have finished second on the Chicago Cubs in home runs in 2024. Ian Happ, who played over 120 games, had 25, only 2 more. So Kyle Tucker brings a lot of power, a lot of pop and thump to this ball club that is desperately needed. 80 hits, 23 home runs, 289 batting average, 56 runs, and 49 RBIs with 11 stolen bases, slugging .585 with an OPS plus of 993. Overall in his career, this is where it gets crazy, a 23 WAR in his career, 2,241 at-bats, 615 hits, 125 home runs, 274 batting average with 365 runs, 417 RBIs, and 94 stolen bases with an OPS of an 870. So obviously he had a really great year from an OPS standard in 2024, but 870 is pretty much where he sits in his career. This is a 3-time All-Star, 2022 World Series champion, a Gold Glover, and a Silver Slugger. This is a guy who does it all, really. He does it. I'm not saying he has the same bat and the same power and the same, vision as a guy like Juan Soto, but when you look at the numbers, I mean, how could you not love him? You know what I mean? Like, this guy, as an overall player, is the complete package. So yeah, man. Woo! That's beautiful, baby. That's beautiful. Now I wanna go on a record on 12/13/24 and say Cam Smith is gonna be a multi-time All-Star. Cam Smith is a monster. Cam Smith is going to be one of the best third basemen in the entire league. He is going to be the king of the hot corner. Unfortunately, he's just a little bit younger than Matt Shaw. And if the Chicago Cubs got Cam Smith first, I believe Matt Shaw would have been traded today. And that's just the unfortunate part. Is Matt Shaw is more seasoned. Matt Shaw is MLB ready. And you just can't hold on to double A guys and pray to God that they're going to continue to have success. Like, listen, not to say Cam Smith and Brennan Davis are in the same conversation, but Brennan Davis was once the number one prospect on the Chicago Cubs. He was a guy that they viewed as one of the next top outfielders of the Cubs. And then, obviously injuries happen, and a lot goes on. And that's not to take anything away from Brennan, but, we've had several big name prospects that just, let's even go out there. Everybody wants to say that you shouldn't have traded Cam Smith. Look at guys like Brennan Davis, who were the number one prospect in the Cubs system, get injured and kind of just get derailed by injuries. Look at a guy like Matt Mervis, who went from single A, double A, triple A majors in a span of a calendar year, hitting dinger after dinger after dinger, and then comes up to the show, and then he's forgotten. And it's not to say that Cam Smith is in that same boat. Cam Smith can be phenomenal, but you also just can't bank the future on a double A guy that you just drafted 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, Cam Smith is an animal. Cam Smith is an absolute monster. And I believe he's going to have a lot of success in this league. He's a double A guy right now. He's in the Knoxville Smokies organization. Drafted 14th overall in the first round. Kid's from Florida, so he can ball. 2024 MILB stats. He had 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, and 115 at-bats, slugging. He's got an insane slug. His OBP is 396. His OPS is 1,005. Cam's a monster. He's 21 years old. The future's bright. The future is bright for Cam Smith. But Kyle Tucker is also one of those ones too, and he's doing it at the big league level. So I hear you if you're upset, if you're a Cubs fan. But you gotta make a move. You can't. Scared money don't make no money. That's what I said last night, and I still believe that. You gotta be able to take a chance. The Chicago Cubs have traded for a guy on a 1-year prove-it deal. Prove it. Prove to us that we're still a competent ball club and can extend a franchise caliber player, and prove to the world that Kyle Tucker is a top 10 player in baseball when healthy. So I'm ecstatic, brother. I'm ecstatic.